of or relating to the past, we are literally being asked to look back at prior communication, at prior ways of thought, at prior relationships, and it can also be prior ways of organization. So when Mercury goes retrograde, we're being asked to look at our files, to go through our paperwork, to clear out our emails, right? How many of you have emails overflowed to the point where you get a message from your email provider? You will stop receiving emails if you do not go through and clear out the past data. So when Mercury goes retrograde, it is inviting you to deal with the past stuff. So sit back, relax. We're going to go up to the actual sky and I'm going to lay out the framework. Part of the reason why it's so hot energetically, emotionally, and we actually have had huge amounts of solar flares, the peak being July 4th, is that we are in the year of the fire horse. We are also in a solar maxima cycle of the sun, which it's completing in the next couple of years. And we are in the high point of summer for the Northern Hemisphere. The actual high point of light was June 21st on the solstice. However, we are in Chinese astrology, the month of the wood goat. And because this is the year of the fire horse is fire, wood is its greatest fuel. And so when we're in a month where the fuel of the year is being fed, the fire of the fire horse is being nourished. And so the themes of the fire horse are activated right now, which is go, which is action, which is courage, which is taking that forward momentum, getting out there, being seen and shining. And when I bring up the actual star chart, it's going to make so much sense why it's so hot. It's not just summer. Energetically, year of the fire horse, in the summer months, in a wood month, which feeds the fire, we have Venus, the planet of abundance, in the sign of Leo, which is ruled by the sun. And we have this huge activation happening between the sun and Jupiter. This is huge, folks. This is absolutely huge. On July 29th, the sun and Jupiter will come together exact in the sign of Cancer, which is the sign of home and family. And the sun, Jupiter, when it's Cassimi, when it's in the center of the sun, is very beneficial for abundance, for wealth, for achievement. However, and this is the challenging part, right now, prior to the Cassimi, prior to when the sun and Jupiter exactly align, it's called combust. And so right now, the biggest planet in the sky, Jupiter, in the last degrees of Gemini, which is the sign of communication, is literally combust or too close to the sun. Mercury, the planet of communication, the sun in the sign of communication, is also very close to Sirius. So we have the two most potently directed towards communication signs, Sun in Gemini, which is illumination of how we express and share. Combust Jupiter. Jupiter is the biggest planet in the sky. Mercury is retrograde in the sign of Gemini, which is communication, conjunct Sirius, which is the greatest light. So let me take you up to the actual sky. Please share in the comments if you're feeling this intensity. And there's so much more I'm going to share with you today in the video. This is powerful, and this is part of why you've been feeling so much intensity. It's not just you. I'm going to go deeper into this because there is so much happening here all at once that I really need to dial it down. So get out a notebook if you want to take some notes, and let's dive into the specifics. What's really happening? I'm going to show you the sky, and thank you for joining me. If you are experiencing, feeling, sensing the intensity, I know you've been seeing on social media that today marks a really big, powerful activation. And what I would tell you is that from now until about the end of July marks a really intense cycle. So let's dive into it. One of the big potent areas here is the sun. So the sun is in Gemini. It's in the last degrees of Gemini. And when we go in close to the sun, we see there's actually some really large sunspots. Okay, and so if you're into learning about solar flares, solar flare activity, there's a lot of solar activity happening this year. We're in a cycle of about 8 to 11 years called the solar maximum, which is when the sun gets hotter and hotter and hotter, more and more radiation, which is one reason that summer today here in the Northern Hemisphere feels so friggin' hot. It's not just you, there's a lot of solar radiation. Now, added to that, we have the planet Jupiter, and you can tell that Jupiter and the sun are very close together, but they're not close enough. And so the sun is journeying from Gemini and will land in Cancer in a couple days. So that's going to be a big shift from the sign of Gemini, which is communication, into the sign of Cancer, which is the sign of emotion. And so right now, as the sun makes its way to Jupiter, it's about 7 degrees away. This creates something called combust. Now, what is combust? Combust just means it's so close that Jupiter is literally like behind the sun. And so the light of the sun is obscuring, because the sun is so hot and so bright, it is obscuring the natural energy of Jupiter. And what is Jupiter all about? Well, Jupiter, look how big, look how many different planets are held in Jupiter. So Jupiter actually emits the strongest magnetic pole on the planet next to the sun. And so when Jupiter is being affected by the sun, that's a lot of energy that the sun is affecting. And what does Jupiter represent? Jupiter represents abundance. It represents expansion. It represents growth. And isn't that interesting that Jupiter has so many moons, 1, 2, 3, has other planets in its orbit there, which makes it so large. And so not only is Jupiter combust the sun, which is the largest planet, all about our expansion, all about abundance, all about prosperity, it is also opposite Pluto. Now, Pluto's always fun to find because it's the smallest planet, but that doesn't mean it's not less powerful. Pluto is one of the most powerful planets, related to and all about the energy of transformation. And when Pluto gets involved, guess what? Nothing is going to be hidden. So remember, I shared too hot to hide as the last video post I made. Well, Pluto is the great revealer, and Pluto is sitting over here in Capricorn. And the reason this is so significant, I want you to see how teeny, teeny, tiny Pluto is. The reason this is so significant, even though Pluto is such a small planet, is that Pluto is the great revealer. It's the great transformer. When Pluto gets involved, it brings things to light. So having Pluto directly opposite Jupiter, which means they're creating like a tension. Jupiter is expansion. It's also the sign of the king. Okay, Jupiter was known as the king of the gods. And so having Pluto directly opposite Jupiter is the great revealer of those in power. Now, the fact that Jupiter is combust the sun, which means it's like its power of abundance, it's a power of expansion is curtailed. And you probably want to know, well, how long is that going to be happening? Well, July 29th is when Jupiter and the sun will be exact. So it's really interesting. As a planet approaches the sun, that can be Jupiter, Mercury, Mars, Venus, it gets harmed, right? The energy of the sun gets hotter and brighter, and it's sort of seen as a burning off process. So we look at the signs that are getting close to the sun. So the sun right now, Jupiter and the sun are coming together, right? So as the sun gets closer to Jupiter, it's causing a burning off of things that are in the way of Jupiter expressing itself. So what is Jupiter? Jupiter is expansion. Jupiter is freedom. Jupiter is abundance. Jupiter is going big. It's often called Jupiter the sign of the cosmic Santa Claus. It's the energy of just such giving, right? I have so much and I'm overflowing and I want to share it with you. Well, when the sun is approaching Jupiter, right, it causes combustion, which is the heat of the sun starts burning off everything around Jupiter that's blocking you from expressing that type of abundance, that type of expansion, that type of growth. Now we can look deeper at the sign that Jupiter is in, which right now Jupiter is in Cancer. And this is just, oh gosh, excuse my excitement because this is so profound what we're experiencing astrologically right now that it's powerful, right? It's very, very potent. And there's really, kind of three main acts to this story. And so the story the first one is that I'm going to go into the sun combusts Jupiter, and the light of the sun is, what is it hurting you? What is Jupiter? What sign is Jupiter in? And so Jupiter is in the sign of Cancer. Why is that important and what does that mean? Well, Cancer is the sign of the home and family. You can think about Cancer, the crab, as wearing its home on its back, right? Very family oriented, very protective. You can think of Cancer as the root system. In an astrology chart, Cancer rules the fourth house, which is known as the house of home, the house of the mom, the house of the DNA, the house of our emotional base, our emotional center. And so when Jupiter is here, it's like having the cosmic Santa Claus of luck, of fortune, of miraculous happenings in the sign of home, in the sign of family, in the sign of our root system and our DNA. And so amazing. My mom has had a really challenging relationship with my brother and sister, who my brother has children. And miraculously, as Jupiter entered Cancer, she informed me she's getting a visit. So she's getting a visit this weekend as Jupiter is in Cancer with her whole family. And I just thought, well, that's really miraculous. That's a gift. That's abundance. That's prosperity. That's good fortune. And so Jupiter will be in Cancer for quite a while. And so that can mean that making money through teaming up with your family, or recognizing there's an inheritance or there's a gift or there's something from your DNA or your ancestry or your family, either a connection, an awareness, a communication, an activity, or an event. The family is super big right now. However, because the sun is so close to Jupiter, and it will not align with Jupiter and create the Cassimi, which is actually when the sun reaches Jupiter, that's what we call the moment of gold. It's Cassimi means in the heart of. And so when the sun and Jupiter come together exactly, which will be happening July 29th, that will be a moment where the light of the sun and the power of the exaltation of Jupiter, the expansion of consciousness, the expansion of travel, the expansion of connection, and the ability to manifest windfalls through our family, through our emotions. This could also represent the mother. It could represent the home. So if you work in these areas, Jupiter here is incredibly benefit. So if you are in the caregiving business, so you care for people, if you're a nanny, if you're a mom, if you're a dad, right? You have a family. If you have ancestors, if you have DNA, luck and fortune is going to come, expand, because Jupiter is the great expander through those channels right now. However, because the sun is combust Jupiter right now, and these are both, Jupiter and the sun, opposing, which in a challenging magnetic relationship to, let's see here, let me find Capricorn, Pluto, which is this teeny tiny planet. So Jupiter in the sign of Cancer, opposite Pluto in the sign of Capricorn. It's just wild, folks. So tell me about Pluto, Lotus. So Pluto, as I said, is the great revealer. It's the things that are hidden. It's opposite Jupiter in Cancer, the sign of home and family. So that can mean revelation, secrets being hidden, really deep, buried stuff from your childhood, from your babyhood, as deep and far back as in the womb. So trauma you experienced as a baby in the womb with the mother or the father, trauma with your brothers and sisters, trauma in the DNA that goes back on the mother and father side. Pluto's the great revealer. So here we have the planet of expansion directly opposite Pluto right now. Oh my goodness. So home and family, Pluto, transformation, revelation, bringing the deepest layers buried. And so when I think of Pluto, what part of the home is Pluto? It's the basement, right? Okay, what about Jupiter? What does Jupiter represent? Jupiter is like the palace, right? It's like the whole shebang. And so when the whole shebang, our world, our home, our palace that we dwell on, in the sign of home and family, our home, where we live, Pluto opposite Jupiter in the sign of home and family, where we live could be changing. We could be moving. We could be feeling transformation down in the very, very basement of our being and our root chakras, right? Our sexual chakras, because Pluto also relates to not only transformation, but every process of the initiate, which, we're born, that's an initiation. We become male and, we begin our menstrual cycle as women. That's an initiation. We become mothers, another initiation. Men become men. That's an initiation. We get sick. That's an initiation. We die. That's an initiation. So Pluto is this planet, that I often think of as powerful as plutonium, right? Plutonium, Pluto, there's a connection. And so Pluto can be explosive. It can bring things up to the surface that you weren't expecting to see or hear. And now this is where it gets really interesting, because we have Jupiter in the sign of home and family and emotions, and we have Pluto, the sign that's activating it, in Capricorn. Capricorn is the sign of government. It's the sign of structure. It's the sign of being willing to work hard and climb the ladder. And so when you have Pluto in the sign of Capricorn, it represents huge and major transformation at the ground floor, at the basement level of business, of society, of government. And what's really fascinating is that Pluto was in Capricorn at the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And it was exactly conjunct in the same sign as the sign of Declaration of Independence about 1 to 2 years ago. And so if we look back in time, where are we at now? So it's been 2 years. If we go back to 1776, that's 1778. And I went back and I looked at the year 1778, and that was actually the year that they redrafted the Declaration of Independence, right? That's major transformation at the governmental level. And so what are we seeing in the world? Why are things so unstable? Why are things so intense? Because Pluto is the planet of transformation. In the sign of Capricorn, it represents transformation at the floor, at the basement, at the foundational level. And so this transformational energy we're in is now, today, being activated by Jupiter combust the sun. What? So Jupiter, the biggest planet, exerts the most magnetic pull of any of the other planets, I think besides the moon, maybe even more so, is combust, which means it's so close to the sun that it's burning off all of its positive attributes. This can be challenges with family, fighting amongst the family, intense things coming up amongst the family, DNA traumas that have been hidden about your family coming to surface. And it's directly opposite Pluto, which is the planet of transformation, in the sign of government, in the same sign it was at the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Now marking the time 2 years after it was exact, which is 1776 to 1778, which is now, if we go back in time, it's like we're reviewing that energy again with Pluto in the same place, because Pluto was really slow. It moves through one sign every 13 years. Okay, so Pluto's a very slow-moving planet. And so when Pluto returns to the exact sign that it was, which it was exact in 1776, that's like a full cycle of Pluto, we see so much transformation at the structural governmental levels. Now, how does it get better? what's to come. So today is kind of intense, right? Because not only is Jupiter combust the sun, but it is literally opposite Pluto. And it is also, we have this other thing happening, the other act, which is that Mercury, the planet of communication, is retrograde. And it is retrograde very, very close to Sirius. And I just want to show you how bright of a star Sirius is. And Sirius is actually found in the dog star. And so many people call Sirius the dog star. Anyone ever heard of the dog days of summer? Right. Why is it so hot? Well, right now we have Mercury retrograde, the planet of communication. All right, so here's Mercury. It's currently in the sign of Gemini. Gemini is the sign of communication. You see with Gemini, there's two people. It represents sharing, right? It represents, okay, I have a thought, idea, impulse, product, vision. Hey, can I share that with you? And so it's really connected to network marketing. It's really connected to sales, really connected to social media and getting out there and sharing. For instance, me doing a live on YouTube, this is Gemini energy. Now, because Mercury is in Gemini, the planet of communication, it's amplified. So the effect of Mercury being retrograde is even more apparent, and really interesting how dark it looks as it's retrograde, which means that what does retrograde mean? It simply means that Mercury's movement through the sky has slowed down, right? And so right now, Mercury is longitudinally, so not exactly next to, but across the sky from Sirius. So the light of Sirius is shining on the retrograde motion of Mercury. And so as we tune into Sirius, I just want you to feel how incredibly vibrant and bright this star is. It's ancient, it's sacred. I've had nights where Sirius woke me up at 4 a.m. I went outside. Why am I awake? And there was Sirius just beaming down at me. In ancient Egypt, Sirius represented the return of the harvest. What does that mean? It means it represented that the sun, that the rains were going to begin to come, that the fertility of ancient Egypt was coming back to the people. Now, every year, Sirius makes a journey. Sirius transitions from an evening star to a dawn star. And when she went from the evening star, which meant she wasn't visible until night, so she'd be hidden all day, that the rains would return. And so that transition from the evening star into the day star is what caused the Egyptian people to celebrate the return of fertility, the harvest return. And so right now, Sirius is sort of in this interesting journey where she's still an evening star preparing to become the dawn star, which means she's still kind of hidden behind the sun. So we have both Jupiter, the largest planet in the sky, oh my goodness, and Sirius, one of the biggest lights, both behind the sun. And so the sun, which is already very hot and bright and light, has two huge planetary influences heating it up. And all of these planets are approaching, well, actually Mercury is going the other way, luckily. But Jupiter and the sun are approaching exact opposition to Pluto. Right now, Jupiter is exactly opposite Pluto, which means the planet of expansion, the planet of the king, the planet of abundance and wealth, getting activated at Pluto, which means all the stuff in the way of us having that is being brought to light. And the sun is approaching exact opposition to Pluto. That will be happening July 26th, which will be greatest light shining on the greatest shadow. Greatest light of the sun will be in Cancer, which is the sign of home and family. She's going to transition out of Gemini pretty soon here in the next couple of days. So sun will be in Cancer. Jupiter will be in Cancer, the sign of home, the sign of family, the sign of DNA, directly opposite Pluto in the sign of government, in the sign of transformation, in the sign of intensity. Holy wow. Please leave a comment if this totally matches the intensity, because as I sit here, I'm just going, mind explosion. This is what's happening. This is one reason it's so intense. And we have Sirius with Mercury, the planet of communication retrograde. So what does that mean to have Sirius, this great light, illuminating a retrograde planet? It means that, have you felt blocked with your voice? Have you felt blocked with expressing yourself? We are not being allowed to hide from confronting that which lives within us that's getting in the way of our shining, because we also have the planet Venus, which represents love. It represents what we love to do, how we shine. In Leo, Leo is expansion. Leo is performance. Leo is shining. It's the sign of the king. Okay, so we have the sun, which rules Leo, combust Jupiter. Jupiter combusts the sun. We have all this solar light activation hitting Pluto, the greatest shadow, hitting the past, the things we haven't dealt with. This is a time, as we hit the real peak of the fire horse year, June 21st, and autumn in the Chinese astrological system and in the Celtic calendar begins between August 1st and 7th. So we're shifting from summer to autumn. Mercury is retrograde. Pluto is retrograde. Neptune is retrograde. And all this intense sun, Jupiter combusts the sun, is leading into something really beautiful and sacred, which will be happening July 29th, which is the exact alignment of the sun and Jupiter. Jupiter Cassimi, the sun. This could be a powerful, pivotal time for healing our families, for healing our government, for bringing things to light around leadership and around structure. And so get excited, because even as we are going through some of the most intensely activating, triggering, and bringing up to the surface moments for ourselves, for our friends, for our family, for our country, for our world, for our government, we are also revealing, bringing up to the light, and transforming the stuck, dark, hidden layers of our consciousness and of the structure of our world, to bring them to light, to bring them to be seen, to transmute, and to transform. So this is a powerful time to listen, to slow down, to allow, to really allow that which is within you that has been blocked, that which has been in your friends, your family, in our world, in our culture, in our government, to come to surface, to the secrets that have been hidden to be seen, and for the truth to be built, for the foundation of our world, our country, and our lives to be built on truth. So what's happening right now is all the things that are built on illusion, that are built on lies, that are built on secrets, that are built on pain and wounding, that information, that data is being brought to surface. And so we're being asked to confront. Energetically, there's a lot of heat, especially in the Northern Hemisphere. So it's really important to hydrate, to slow down, and to realize, yes, it is a fire horse year. However, numerologically, the year of the one, it's the beginning of a 9-year cycle. In Feng Shui, we've entered a new cycle where 9 is the focus, which is fire. So all that fiery energy of the fire horse year, it's not going anywhere. We're just beginning. The fire horse is the initiation. Pluto will be in Capricorn for 12 more years. So this transformational process, this heat, we have more time to transform. We have more time to claim it, to express ourselves, to be seen, and to shine. So if you're like, oh my God, I want to be seen, I want to shine, I want to share. However, I'm feeling tired, I'm feeling triggered. That's the stuff being brought to surface to clear. Confront it, clear it, transform it, and get ready for what to me feels as though we are entering into the greatest opportunities for abundance, love, and fortune we have ever experienced as we confront, as we face, and as we heal that which is arising. If you're interested in working with me one-on-one, you can find all of my work at blossomwithlotus.com. If you would like to see how this powerful energy of the sun combusts Jupiter, as well as July 29th, when the sun is Cassimi the sun, in the heart of the sun, reach out to me for a private one-on-one session. And if you'd like to do energy healing work I do energy work with my partner every Monday night in our Energy Clearing Mastery membership, as well as Wednesdays at 1 p.m. for women and women only. If you would like to join us and you're a woman, you get to come for free the first session. So let me know if you're interested. And I just send you all so much love and light. Remember, you have the power to transform anything that is not you, because who you are is so much bigger, so much more powerful than any old memories, static, smoke trigger. It's just ephemeral. It's an illusion over the sun. Allow the light to burn away the mask and step into the true you, the real you, the one that shines. Biggest love. Aloha.